Okay, I'm reading from some articles from Jet Magazine, and this is May the 24th, 1954. Jet Magazine, May the 24th, 1954. Now, the first article I'm reading, it's it's about a magazine in Copper Magazine. So this is an advertisement for Copper Magazine about this woman who found love in an Indian man, East Indian man. And this was in a Copper magazine. It's an advertisement about it. And it says, before settling down to marital bliss in London with her Indian boyfriend, Marie Bryan won acclaim for her dancing on two continents, appeared in Hollywood movies, taught dancing to film stars. One night out at sea while on her way to Ceylon, Marie met a handsome Indian of princely heritage. She taught him how to make love, then married him. In the exclusive Copper Stories, she tells why this one mixed marriage can fail. This was in the Copper magazine. That's that story. Okay, the next story is about this Cleveland prophet. He was a Cleveland prophet. He called himself a prophet anyway. Okay, that's that story about the Cleveland prophet. And he get 40-year prison term. Emmett Cobb, a 32-year-old Cleveland bed prophet, Emmett Cobb, was found guilty of luring a 19-year-old white heiress and other teenage white girls into crime and prostitution, and was sentenced to a 14 to 68-year prison term, charged with 11 counts of rape and pandering. The red fetch-wearing Muslim was convicted after the Shaker Heights Harris explained how Cobb hypnotized her into joining his crime school. She said Cobb, also known as Cain Terwilly and Ahmad L., taught girls shoplifting, confidence games, and how to use knockout drops. As his sentence was passed, Cobb shouted defiance at the judge, said his rights was violated because he was tried in a grossly prejudiced Christian court. This is 1954. Claimed Cobb, and she claimed he hypnotized her. I believe some white guys hypnotized some black women too, especially that woman who went on her knees and smearing Black Lives Matter. She may have been hypnotized to do those crazy things. And I think she wasn't a foundational Black American either. Okay, now listen. Next story is to say a white man gets 20 years for raping Negro 11, 11 years old. And a lot of stories, when there's a young white girls, they come along willfully with the black man in this sexual liaison. But when it's a young black girl, she's usually raped by the white man. A 35-year-old white Washington, D.C. brick contractor, Jack W. Baines, was sentenced 20 years imprisonment for raping an 11-year-old Negro girl. Baines was accused by the girl of picking her up on a Washington street on a pretense of hiring her for work. And that's that story there. Now, the next story, uh, just below that, It's the story of this guy. He must be from Ghana. His name is Abia. He was the son of African chieftain. He visited with his new son, born to his wife, of the former Becky Cripps, daughter of the late Sir Stafford Cripps, in London Hospital. Okay. Okay, now this is I don't know, this is the last story, and this is about a white Los Angeles call girl turns in Negro boss. A 54-year-old Los Angeles ex-convict with a long prison record was jailed on charge of pandering after a 32-year-old blonde white woman told police she worked for the man as a $400 to $500 a week prostitute. That's big money in 1954. The woman, Mrs. Elizabeth Doan, said Charles W. Montgomery gave her only $2 a week from her large earnings. Mrs. Duane says he turned Montgomery in because he started beating me up. Montgomery was convicted in the early 40s as the leader of a large international vice ring which supplied prostitutes throughout California and several foreign countries. And that was that story there. Okay, that's it for that. And that's I'm going back to the stories. Ebony Magazine, 1954, which I read just about every day. Ebony Magazine, 1962 here. That was 1954, the jet. Now, briefly, I'm just going to go over this story or this paragraph. White women continue to be a factor in American amalgamation in the plantation period. Kenneth Stamp, an authority on American Negro slavery, says white women was less involved in amalgamation than white men, but their role was never negligible. James Hugo Johnston, the authority on miscegenation in the South, says white women are partially responsible for the existence of mulattoes. That was saying, of course, white man was the biggest cupid with the most children, but well, that speaks for itself.